Next on Worcester News tonight, Dodgeball for a Cause. A college hockey team finds a unique way to support families devastated by a tragedy. Plus, another development in Worcester's downtown. The city's newest hotel is officially open. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. In the wake of a tragedy which saw 15 people lose their lives, a Central Massachusetts hockey team is doing what they can to support the community of Humboldt. Players and coaches hosted a dodgeball tournament as a way to honor the victims and raise money. Our Cam Jandro joins us now live with the details. Cam?
Anna, just about every athletic team from Nichols College participated in tonight's tournament. I caught up with the hockey team who hosted the event, and they say they just had to do this.
For Nichols College hockey player Jay Narowski, the Humboldt Broncos tragedy really hit home.
It's tragic what happened to them. We've all been on long bus trips that seem to never end, but you have your brothers, your friends there to talk to, play cards with, or just kind of relax.
It's why Narowski and his teammates decided to host Dodgeball for Humboldt as a way to raise money for the families impacted by the crash. 22 groups made a $25 donation to take part in the action.
We feel like we owe it to our brothers in Humboldt, but also all over the hockey world, that we need to do our part in just raising awareness, raising money, just any type of resource that we can offer.
Ready, set, go!
Senior goaltender Colin Brennan helped organize Wednesday's tournament. He says the event was about more than just the money.
Sometimes with these fundraisers, people just think it's about the money. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to really just bring comfort and just know that we're thinking about them.
The crash claimed the lives of 15 people. Back in Dudley, the Nichols College hockey team is using the tragedy as a reason why you shouldn't take life for granted.
We get to bond together over this, but also to remember the guys, what happened to them, and send our prayers up to them.
I hope everyone remembers that every moment is special, and to really cherish every moment you have with your sports team or your family. So I hope that's what everyone walks away with.
Now, the team says they raised over $500 tonight, and all of the proceeds will be going to the Humboldt Broncos GoFundMe page. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. The cold start to spring is taking a toll on the attendance at Southwick Zoo in Mendon. They've been open for more than a week, but the weather has not been ideal for visitors or animals. Southwick Zoo in Mendon is open for the season. You'll see lions, monkeys, and even kangaroos out and about. But as you walk by some of the other habitats, you may notice no animals in them. Southwick's Executive Director of Conservation and Education, Betsy Brewer, says it's because of the cooler spring weather.
I don't ever remember an April like this. I am just layered out here. It's kind of crazy. We usually have great weather, lots of visitors, but not this year. So this is a real different spring for us.
Southwick's is a privately owned zoo. They don't receive government funding, so it's their admission keeping them going.
We want visitors, we need to get going with our season. We will continue to plug along and get everything out.
The weather does not only keep people from coming, but animals as well. Because of the cold temperatures, some of the animals opt for their heated huts.
We have 22 heated animal buildings, as well as a huge indoor animal facility for our smaller monkeys and tropical birds.
But for other animals like the fallow deer, they're not afraid of the cold temperatures.
The camels behind me, they're from Mongolia. They can be out in 20 below temperatures, up to over 100 degrees. They're fascinating, well-adapted animals, so they're doing fine. And we have yaks, too, that don't mind the cold temperatures, and the lions and the tigers.
Brewer says there are plenty of animals who are ready for zoo visitors to see. Caring for the animals is their #1 priority.
Everyone works really hard to make sure that we have all of our animals healthy, well, and happily adjusted.
Now, the zoo officially opened April 9th. Brewer says sloths are usually the last animals to come out for the season. No, not because they're slow, because they like warm temperatures, and who could blame them? Switching gears now, a coyote attack leaves a man scratched and bruised. The Rutland man says he took quick actions to fight off the animal and is thankful for skills he learned years ago. Our Chandler Walsh has his story.
I pulled it over my head and I just started stabbing it. Brian Hutchins reenacts the scary moments when a coyote attacked him in his backyard. Hutchins was checking on his 3 chickens when he says what felt like an 80-pound coyote jumped on him.
It landed right on the back of my head. It was trying to bite my head through my coat. It was like a complete all-out brawl.
Using moves he learned in high school wrestling, Hutchins was able to rip the coyote off his back. He stabbed it multiple times before it took off into the woods behind his Rutland home. Hutchins was left with a few cuts on his face and a ripped coat where the animal tried to bite him.
If it wasn't for my knife, I probably wouldn't be here today. It was absolute adrenaline. It was like a life or death because no one else was here. And it just happened so fast.
Hutchins' wife Ruth wasn't home at the time. She says when he called her, she was in shock.
I was like, oh, you are so lucky, fortunate, because they could have bit his jugular or his throat. I would have been a widow.
The Hutchins say they hear at least 30 coyotes behind their house every night. Police Chief Nick Monaco says the animals are very common in the area, but residents shouldn't be concerned.
We get calls pretty often, but there's been no problems with human coyote contact.
Mass Wildlife says there have only been 9 confirmed coyote attacks ever in the state, and they say Hutchins' reaction was the right one.
That animal wanted to kill me, so I had no choice but to do what I did.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Spring is here, and so are allergies. According to doctors at UMass Memorial Medical Center, the tree pollen has been out for a few weeks now. According to Dr. Whitney Dunlap, rain has the biggest effect on allergy season, primarily the rain we get the fall prior to tree pollen season. She says dry and windy days can cause people to have more pollen exposure.
In England, we get sort of tired of the winter, especially this winter that seems to have gone on interminably. And so everyone likes to sort of get out, throw open the doors of their homes, throw open the windows of their homes when it comes time for spring to come, especially on a beautiful, warm, sunny day. And that's when the pollen can really come into our homes more consistently.
Dr. Dunlap says the best way to treat allergies is to start medication before symptoms start and be mindful of the weather outside. Worcester's newest hotel opens its doors for business for the first time Thursday. The AC Hotel by Marriott will offer 170 more rooms to the city. It's next to the new Front Street Apartments, and the upscale hotel also offers a ballroom and a cocktail bar. According to Discover Central Massachusetts, the city now has more than 1,100 guest rooms. If you're looking to spend the night, it will cost you around $200 for a room. A day after Governor Charlie Baker said he would support the death penalty for anyone who kills a police officer, the Auburn Police Department says it's hopeful a new conversation around capital punishment can begin. It was almost 2 years ago when Auburn officer Ronald Tarantino was killed in the line of duty. Our Olivia Lemon has the story.
I think there's legislation currently pending before the legislature on that if the governor has got to sign it.
Governor Charlie Baker reaffirms his support of the death penalty for anyone who kills a police officer.
If it comes to fruition, obviously it would be something that we would support.
The death of Yarmouth police officer Sean Gannon brought up a lot of emotions for Auburn police. One of their own, Officer Ronald Tarantino, was shot and killed almost 2 years ago by a career criminal.
It would appear, at least as a society, we really haven't learned anything, or at least in the Commonwealth, we haven't really learned anything because the circumstances that allowed his killer to be out were very similar to the circumstances that allowed Jorge Zambrano to be out.
There was an effort to restore capital punishment after Tarantino's death. The Massachusetts Republican Party tweeted they would support tougher penalties against criminals who kill police. Meanwhile, State Senate President Harriet Chandler says in a statement, "I am personally opposed to the death penalty, and I do not foresee Massachusetts reinstating capital punishment." That being said, the death of Officer Sean Gannon is a heartbreaking tragedy, and I hope that the justice system enacts swift punishment to those responsible to the fullest extent of the law.
It's frustrating. It's beyond frustrating, when these people that shouldn't be out are doing these things.
Lieutenant Scott Mills says he hopes the discussion of reform and the death penalty continues and something will be done.
Let their lives stand, the loss of their lives stand for something, be a catalyst for not only a conversation but actually change.
The Auburn Police Department was at Officer Sean Gannon's funeral Wednesday. Lieutenant Mills says the department is offering their full support to Yarmouth. The region's second medical marijuana dispensary is officially open. Curaleaf's manager says there's a need in the community and they're hoping they can help meet it. Our Rutland Flaherty has the story.
It has a feel of a doctor's office, but once inside, patients will have access to medical marijuana. Curaleaf opened its doors in Oxford this week, saying there's a need in the community.
It's a very underserved area, unfortunately, so the feedback has been great. They're just happy that we're here and we're happy to serve them and to help them.
Patients have to show their medical marijuana card and an ID before stepping into the building. Once in, they have to show their cards again and then have a consultation to see what is the best option.
We really do focus on that one-on-one care to make sure that every patient leaves knowing exactly what they're using and what they're doing.
Mara O'Brien is the dispensary operations manager. She says patients can have 10 ounces of medical marijuana in 60 days. They can receive it in forms like topicals and edibles. And O'Brien says it's rewarding to see how it helps improve people's lives.
You see people coming in with debilitating conditions and you kind of form a relationship over, years sometimes, and you just see them get their quality of life back.
She says they worked with the town of Oxford for years to get the dispensary up and running and are making sure they are a good partner.
They've been absolutely wonderful to work with. They're very kind. We've been in touch with the fire department, police department, planning board.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.